If you're an owner-operator or you're running a small fleet, you are in the right place. We're going to cut through all the noise from this week's trucking data and give you some clear, actionable insights on, where you should actually point your truck next.
So, this right here, this is the puzzle we've got to solve this week. On one hand, we've got more carriers hitting the road, which, should mean more competition. But at the exact same time, fuel costs are just squeezing everybody's wallet. So the big question is, where in the world is the opportunity? Let's go find it.
All right, first things first, let's zoom out and look at the big picture. There are really two major forces shaping your bottom line right now. How many other trucks you're competing against and what it costs to keep your own rig moving.
Okay, look at this number, plus 104. Now, for the very first time this year, we've seen a net increase in carrier authorities. What that means is more new carriers jumped into the market than left it. Now, it's a small number for sure, but it could be the first little sign that confidence is starting to creep back into the industry.
But any of that returning confidence is immediately getting hammered by this number. $3.67 is the new national average for diesel. That's a jump of over 17 cents in just 1 month. So yeah, whatever little gains the market might be showing, they're getting eaten right up at the pump.
So keeping those big picture trends in mind, let's get granular. We're going to break this whole market down by equipment type to figure out which regions are hot and, well, which ones are not. Let's see where you should be running this week.
First up, for all you flatbedders out there, let's dive into your specific market conditions right now.
Okay, so this scorecard is showing a lot of green for flatbed volume, right? Especially in the Northeast, the Midwest, and the South, all up. But here's the curveball. Look at the South. It's got the highest volume of loads by a long shot, but it's the only one of those three where outbound rates actually went down. So, what does that mean?
So here's the takeaway. The South is your hot zone if you're looking for volume. We're talking over 23,000 loads, which means you're probably not going to be sitting still for long. But if you're chasing the highest rate, the Midwest is your target. Just remember, those high rates per mile are often on shorter hauls. And on the flip side, the West Coast, it's a definite cold zone. Low volume, low rates, high fuel. It's just a no-go for flatbed right now.
All right, let's switch gears to the dry van report. Let's see if the story is any different for the most common trailer on the road.
The picture for dry van operators is a bit more concerning. I mean, look at this. Volume is down almost everywhere except for the South. And the Plain States are just getting hit with a double whammy. Both volume and outbound rates are dropping. That is a really tough spot to be in.
So, where's the best play for dry van? It's the Midwest. Yeah, even though the volume is down, the rates are higher, and that can give you a little more leverage when you're negotiating. The cold zones are pretty obvious. The West Coast is still struggling with low load counts and, frankly, terrible pay. And like we just saw, the Plain States are in a tough spot with both of those key metrics going in the wrong direction.
Okay, time to check in with our reefer haulers. Let's see what the data is telling us about the refrigerated market this week.
The reefer market looks pretty active. Volume is up in the South, the Plains, and the West Coast. But notice the Plain States again. It is the only region where volume went up, but rates went down. That is a classic sign of excess capacity. Basically, too many trucks are chasing the same freight, and it's driving the prices down for everyone. So for reefer drivers, the Midwest is clearly a hot zone this week. It's one of your best areas for opportunity. The cold zone, no surprise here, is still the West Coast, mainly because of low volume and those killer fuel costs. But here's a fascinating bit of context for you. That outbound rate from the West is over $2.50 a mile. And while that's the lowest rate on the board today, just 1 year ago, that would have been a top-tier rate. It's just a stark reminder of how fast this market can change.
All right, so we've looked at all the data, but you and I both know there's a world of difference between numbers on a screen and what it actually feels like out there on the road trying to make a living. Does any of this feel familiar? Your inbox is just flooded with junk from brokers. Your phone is ringing off the hook with calls for trucks in states you're nowhere near. And even when things are improving, landing that one really great load, it still feels like it takes a bit of luck, right? There's just this feeling in the air that even when things are good, it's not gonna last. And that feeling is just captured perfectly by this quote from an operator. "I am very jaded from the market, always preparing for, this is not going to last." Wow, this really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Even when you have a great week, you're always kind of looking over your shoulder, waiting for the other shoe to drop. So,
with that reality front and center, let's shift gears from just the weekly tactics to the long-term strategy. I mean, how do you build a business that's tough enough to survive these relentless cycles?
The advice could not be simpler, but it is absolutely critical. When things are going well, just put away money for the next cycle. It's not about what you make in the good times, it's about what you keep. That financial discipline during the upswings, that's what gets you through the inevitable downturns.
And this is exactly why that discipline is so vital. Trucking is and it always will be cyclical. It goes up, it comes down. But the most important thing to remember is that the last down cycle, the one we just clawed our way out of, lasted for 4 years. 4 years. That is a long, long time to try and weather a storm if you don't have a life raft.
So we'll leave you with this question to think about. That last downturn was a 4-year grind. Are you using the good times right now to make absolutely sure your business is ready for the next one?